Good evening and welcome to the June 21st, 2018 edition of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals. We only have one hearing scheduled for this evening, so it should be fairly brief if things go well. We have a motion to open the hearing.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So our first public and only public hearing this evening is a 7:00 p.m. applicant, Laith Azuni, requesting a special permit under section 4.3 Aquifer Protection of the zoning bylaws for the expansion of a parking lot within Aquifer Zone 2 on property located at 838 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 6, parcel 105. Is the applicant present?
Present.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Imad Zurain from Develop Zurain. With me also the owner and the applicant, Dr. Laith Azuni. As you recall, we were before you probably a few months ago with the same special permit for site plan for the coverage of more than 15%, rendering impervious. But since we've had your approval, we've learned that Tinker Hill Road is actually a private road, and it's in a pretty bad shape as far as the pavement and what have you. So since then, we've decided to. We had the access off that road. So we've decided to flip the access and just use the Southbridge access as the main access to the site. It's got a Southbridge address anyway, so it's easier for a client or what have you. But in doing so, coming off Southbridge, we're adding a little more impervious for the driveway to get to the parking lot. We're still proposing 8 parking spaces as we had before. Nothing that we had proposed back then changed except the additional driveway to get from the road into the parking spaces. The underground recharge system is actually sized for the 100-year storm to contain the entire site within the entire runoff of 100-year within the site itself.
Okay.
We had submitted a new application and notified all the abutters who were actually part of the application. We were asking for a waiver of the fee. That's something we're hoping you could do, but it's up to the board.
Okay.
Since it's a resubmission,
Right.
we felt we're asking for that respectively.
Okay, we can address those as we go, one at a time, certainly. Anything else to add before I bring it up to the members of the board?
That's it.
Okay, so we'll do our usual. Mr. Cussy, do you have any comments or questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I would just, did this go in for peer review?
We've done a peer review through the planning board for the entire site, coming off the other driveway, and we've addressed all their comments. The drainage were addressed as well.
Okay.
They had no comments on the drainage. They approved the drainage design.
Okay, that's all for me.
Mr. Chicolo?
I have a question of the chairman to begin with. Is it possible for us to amend the previously issued special permit, being that we are relatively close, because we've already issued a special permit for this?
Correct.
And planning board will have to weigh in on it, so that as far as the zoning portion of it, can we amend the special permit that's already been issued to simplify matters for the gentleman?
So it's actually a really good question, and I did happen to look into that. And because it's a substantial change in terms of the location of the entry and exit, being on specifically Southbridge Street, the State Department of Public Works has to kind of also get in on this. So it's really not necessarily that we can amend the first decision as much as we have to render a second decision, because this is going to require DOT permits as well.
And that would be under the guidelines of the planning board working with the DOT?
Well, they're going to have to petition the DOT permits. They would need to go and seek out for the DOT and get a permission for a curb cut on Southbridge Street. So that's where the substantial change to the
They're going to
application.
use the same curb cut that's there.
This is an existing curb cut?
We're using the existing curb cut. We're not
Yeah.
changing the curb cut.
All right, so, but what I did understand, I apologize, I understood it was a new curb cut, but regardless, it's because of the entry and exit directly onto Route 20, and not because it's that private way, still requires a DOT permit.
Would jurisdiction for that fall to us, or would it be just strictly zoning?
It would
I was
just-
trying to simplify it as much as possible.
Oh, and I totally agree, but unfortunately, this is State Department of Transportation because it's Route 20, it's a numbered road. So they would have to petition the state to get an accepted permit on that.
But if we gave our okay and thumbs up to the zoning issue,
Correct.
which we have, then it would be a secondary thing that the gentleman here would have to go through with planning board and DOT and so forth. But as far as the zoning, there really isn't going to be a change on our zoning.
No, there really isn't substantial change in the zoning, but because they are addition to the impervious surface, and because of their desire to use the entrance on Route 20, I think we should render a second decision.
All right,
I think it would be, in terms of liability reduction for the board.
all right. And I would like to weigh in that I would be in favor of weighing that $300 filing fee, being that this is not a huge thing.
Right. Okay.
I would weigh in
I'll
on
take a
that.
vote on that after we just make the decision. I think that's agreeable.
All right,
Anything
I
else?
have no questions for the applicant.
Mr. Maron?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, sir. Thanks for being here. I would just like some clarity on, I know that the increase on the impervious surface, it's increased by 1,700 square feet?
Close to that, from 33.2 to 42.5%.
Okay, what was that first number? And that's what I was...
We had initially 33.2. Now we're going to 42.5 for a 19,000 square foot lot.
Okay. So your total impervious now is,
Close to 1,600 square feet additional,
okay. All right, so total impervious, it's not near,
which really it's this area here.
it comes up to about half. Okay, thank you, sir. I don't have any additional questions.
Okay. Ms. Roach?
I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Place?
No questions?
Okay. So if there's no other further comments, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's a, in the audience.
Hold on. You have a motion to reopen?
I'll take a motion, make a motion to reopen the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, sir.
If you could approach the lectern,
I need your voice on the microphone, please, sir.
So what I heard from you, if I understood correctly, I mean, you're saying we're adding entry to Southbridge Street, correct?
Well, I know there's an existing curb cut. That was clarified this evening, but it
Yes.
still requires a permit from the Department of Transportation.
But originally, with the plan we submitted before, we had this area here. It was on the plan for parking spaces for myself and some of the staff. This space here, we added it because DPW, they wanted to close this later on after the peer review.
Right.
And for me, when I bought the property, I only bought it because of this. And that's Southbridge Street, like all the other properties in the area, they have the entrance and exit from there.
Right.
And I overpaid for it just because of this. And that's my concern on this.
Since it's an existing curb cut, it does change in my mind a little bit. I thought it was going to be an additional curb cut. It's not. It's an existing. Realistically, it's probably just a matter of filling out the forms with the state and notifying that you're going to be using it, and they'll probably issue the permits. I won't speak on behalf of the DOT. I can't legally do that, but I think it's a formality, to tell you the truth.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and sorry to interrupt you, but could we ask this gentleman to state his name?
Oh, yes. Can you just state your name?
Laith Azuni, the owner of the property.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now that that's clarified, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so do I have a motion on the 7 o'clock PM application for the special permit? We'll start with that first.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So now on to the issue of waiving of fees, considering this is a second application for what fundamentally is the same purpose. Do I have a motion on the issue of waiving of fees?
I'll make a motion to waive the $300 fee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay? Congratulations, gentlemen, good luck.
Thank you very much.
So part of the conditions of the permit will be that you'll have to reach out to the Department of Transportation and just fill out the application, get the permit from them. It's just standard procedure. Okay? And if you need any contact information on how to get a hold of that, you can certainly contact the Department of Inspectional and Development Services, and you can talk to Caleb. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other further paperwork to sign? Okay, and we have no further business. So our next meeting is July 19th, if anybody's interested in filling out an application for the next hearing. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, that was quick.